Black Lives Matter. That's it. There's no debate. And that's all I want to say. Matt.
This is the Gamers 2 podcast for June 5th, your weekly roundup of news and commentary related to the video game industry and anything else that may pique our interest. You're here. You come for news. Let's give you some news, I guess. Well, first, I don't even know what we do anymore. What are our segments? I feel like it's been weeks since we've done this.
It's been 7 days, and Matt's just like, the passage of time is an enigma. Honestly, at this point, everything since I can now justify things in the form of 2 haircuts because I have gotten a haircut. So everything, last haircut being the end of February to new haircut being yesterday, that is now a window of time that, as far as I'm concerned, is 1 day.
I feel
like one. It is one period in which things occurred. When in that period they may have occurred, don't know. But that is just that is the Jurassic period, we'll call it, and we'll move on.
All right, that's fair.
Somebody's like, "Oh yeah, this." I was like, "Oh yeah." I talked to him the other day. Oh, that was in April. All right, well, never mind.
I guess
if
you're still in your Jurassic period, if you're still in your quarantine, if you need to take a break from protesting and you need to play a video game, Nate's got a list for you of new releases.
I do have a list for you, and I will read that now as I
stick your finger in your eyeball.
Stick a needle in my eye.
That's a graphic.
Ice pick lobotomy? Never heard of that one? Never heard of giving somebody an ice pick lobotomy?
No.
You know what a lobotomy is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was like an insult to somebody, like, oh, go give you an ice pick lobotomy, because obviously you're not going to survive an ice pick lobotomy.
Go kill yourself is what the
yeah, kind of, but I don't remember if it was ever like go give yourself an ice pick lobotomy. Whatever. Somebody that's much older than me, please tell me what that saying is. That might offend a few listeners, but I'm sorry. Number 1, Little Nightmares comes to Stadia. I think this is the second time, maybe the third time, I've ever discussed Stadia on the new release. Valorant officially comes to PC. Matt's favorite game on this list, Pro Cycling Manager 2020 for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, followed closely by the Tour de France 2020 for PlayStation and Xbox.
Must be the season. 2
rivals right there. Hard. I can't wait to see the MPD numbers for those 2 games, Matt. And I swear you better get me them. Number 5, Command & Conquer Remastered Collection for PC, and Outer Worlds goes to Switch, which apparently is shit.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw any of that. I think it was Audio Technica did a breakdown on it. Or Ars Technica.
Ars Technica, yeah.
Audio Technica is a manufacturer. Ars Technica, I think, did a breakdown on it. Or Digital Foundry did. Sorry, one of you two did one.
I think they're owned by the same parent company.
They probably are. Did a breakdown on it, and it's more like it's a feat that it's even running, but it's terrible. Like The Witcher's bad. This is worse.
Interesting.
Like somebody's review I started reading was started with, if this is your only way to play the game, I almost recommend you still don't do it. It's 720 in docked and doesn't even hit 540 sometimes in handheld. And it's just like, oh god. And then they had side-by-side shots of like what you see on a console versus what you see on the Switch. And I think it was like the first area when you're walking down the hill and you can see trees and there's things in the distance. This one, there's rocks. There's not a single tree even on the like graphic because they're like, we can't render trees. Don't even bother with it.
Why would they even bother making the game?
Money. Their cost to port versus attempted sales might not have been like the cost of port might have been negligible to them for the attempted of money, but it hasn't been received well.
Interesting. I would not have. That's not what I would have anticipated.
No, I mean, I think we both knew it wasn't going to be hot shit going to the Switch anyway.
Mm-hmm. I
But
was assuming
not-
like
not
Witcher
thi-
3.
Yeah, not this
territory.
bad. And I mean, even The Witcher 3 doesn't look great on the Switch,
No, but it's playable.
but it's playable. And I think this is still playable, but I'm not 100% positive. I know there was a lot of arguments about, or not arguments, but like discussions around the visual
Yeah.
fidelity of the game.
Well, to a certain extent, it matters for sure.
It matters, especially in a game like that that's supposed to be this space utopia. Like that's in the world part of it. I didn't even look at what happened in the cities.
Yeah, and then once you get into combat,
Yeah, once you get into combat, does it just tank everything? Like, what is the? I don't even remember the name of the spaceport now, the giant ship. But when you go there, how does that render itself? Especially twice, because how do you go there or the other ship where you have to do the entire like crew fight in the middle of it in the beginning, with all those enemies they get loaded in? I don't know. Maybe there's dialogue options where you can avoid everything I'm talking about, but you know that's the Outer Worlds. Play it how you want. Don't worry about the story because it doesn't really make sense. Outer Worlds.
I just don't know anymore. I just don't know what the world's come to. Got these ports coming to Switch that shouldn't be ports. Not working.
It's one of those where I think the intent is good. Like, hey, we still want to be able to have like a Switch only person. We want to be able to allow you to play our games too. If that is the intent and not just money, give me. If the intent is, hey, there's no reason you shouldn't also be able to play it. So them trying, even though they know the hardware is far less capable and blah blah blah, the intent might be good.
Yeah.
But the execution and reality of the entire thing is terrible. Where you have people saying, hey, maybe you don't play it. Maybe you watch it on YouTube. Don't know. I don't know. It even though I want to move on from the new releases, I don't want you can pick that up. Don't worry about it. It's not going to take that long. Yeah, it's not true. I take long. The fact that we have 2 cycling games on there. Now, don't get me wrong. I curate their list. I can choose what I put on here. I could put anything on here.
I get you. The fact that 2 cycling games are coming out
At the same time,
time.
makes sense. It does, it could be 'tis the season. This might just be, I've never tracked cycling game releases. This might be normal. But that they both exist still means they are at least somehow making money from previous year, because I definitely called them out years prior. So what do we need to do to get Matt to play Pro Cycling Manager 2020?
I'll investigate it. I mean, because
I think Tour de France, you probably actually are the biker, but I'm pretty sure Pro Cycling Manager, you're the coach of the 4-man team.
So does that mean I will consider playing it if I am the coach, and I believe in these cycling races, the coach is like either in a van or something that's like close by, or
Yeah, I believe.
this is stretching my knowledge of
So
of
stretching my
cycling.
entire knowledge of cycling, all I know is at some point you get 1 testicle, you win 7 of them because you did steroids, and you move on.
That sounds about right.
All right, cool. And the whole rest of the field did steroids too, but you were just the best of the steroid users. Different thing. You all wear a yellow band to remember him. So the the coaches are either in a van or somewhere. I think the trainers are usually riding in a van behind with like probably the medical staff and bike swaps and stuff like that in case somebody pops a tire, blah blah blah. I think the coaches specifically are usually either stationed at like the next checkpoint, but have the cameras and everything everywhere to see what they need. And they probably have all the tracking data like into a computer where it's like, oh, I can clearly see what position you're in. Now, this is going way back. I'm pretty sure one of the years I might have watched Funhouse play a Pro Cycling Manager. It might have been 2017.
That kind of rings a bell.
It might be 2017, might be 2016. It also might have been when they were Inside Gaming, so I'm not 100% positive. It might have definitely been when they were Inside Gaming. And they were in control of a 4-man team, choosing when to use energy capsules, like the little energy gels that they carry on themselves, and like if you should boost, if you should be trailing, if you should be slipstreaming with somebody, if you should, And they boosted everybody right up until the end, and then they were all dead and they couldn't race anymore. So they just got passed by the entire field, and there was the last 4 of them just like slowly biking because they had no energy left. It's like Football Manager, but for cyclists.
I just can't fathom. Like, you'd have to be really into the sport, I feel like.
I feel like you would too, and that goes back to the immediate point. You have to be into it. How many people are buying this? Power to them to be able to keep making them year after year, but like Football Manager, I know, has seen a gigantic surge during this whole pandemic thing. Has Cycling Manager seen a surge?
I don't know.
NPD numbers will tell us. Also, apparently, and I don't know, going into our news segment, air quotes, for some reason I had to double check that we were still recording. Every now and then I get the itch, like I forget to press a button. Wouldn't be the first time. Yeah, what am I? All right, I'm gonna learn to speak. Hold on. I'm gonna just recompose myself real quick. Going into the news stories, it was brought to my attention after last week that I do usually clearly choose a certain number.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, I've always been choosing, up until last week, I've been choosing the same number for like the last few weeks. Now, I had that conversation, and I do not remember which number that was.
I was trying to think in my head. I'm like, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I had the entire conversation because I asked the audience. I was like, what do I normally pick? And they're like, good thing you picked this week because you normally always pick this, except I don't remember which this and this they were. I don't know if it was odds or evens that I normally pick. So going into this week, who knows? We'll see again. It's like a mystery for me every week we record. You get to listen to it all later. But this is, on the fly editing. And I think I'm probably looking at, what do you want me to take? Evens?
I care not. I'm realizing now though that there's a couple of videos we probably should have watched, but it's not. It's not really significant. Well, you're deciding.
Yeah.
This week of news was even slower than last week's week of news, for obvious reasons.
Yes, due to world events that are of much more importance than video games. Everything that we were hyped about last week in terms of specifically a PS5 information reveal have been delayed.
Yeah, which
until the world decides to quit being a shithole and everybody learns to, what I said at the top of the show.
Get along. All right, so what are you doing?
I'll do evens. I wish I wanted to so badly remember what I normally do, but I don't.
I don't know. We'll find out.
I'm gonna get a text message the moment the person's listening to this. I'm gonna get the message that says you normally pick blank. I'm like, sure I do. No idea. I will literally forget with the moment you tell me after this. Podcast amnesia. I suffer. Things get repeated back to me throughout the week, and they're like, ha ha ha, that moment was so funny, and I'm just like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I literally have no idea. Middle of the day, ha ha ha. Spaghetti monster, and I'm like, oh, fucking, what does that even mean? Or are you just randomly laughing at the idea of a spaghetti monster? And like, no, you made a joke on the podcast about it. Sure, I did. Yep, I agree. It was great. It was a funny time. Anyway, sorry.
If you say so.
Shall we go into the news headlines?
I guess so.
All right, then.
First up, Sony has announced it will postpone its planned PlayStation 5 game reveal event from June 4th to as yet undetermined date.
Hey, I just said that.
The company's made the announcement in a statement posted to Twitter. Sony's announcement comes in response to the death of George Floyd.
I think the end part of that is probably disingenuous a little bit.
Do you think they're taking advantage of the situation?
No. Not them taking advantage of the situation. I don't think that's what I'm saying. He is but a one instance of it, a larger problem that they're actually, like
the catalyst for the problem,
for the discussion of why they're moving it, because of the movement that is going on. That is why they are moving it. which, oh man, we are going to be treading so close to breaking out into that entire discussion. But we shouldn't. Number 2. Actually, do I want to say anything else about that? The as yet determined date is interesting, I think. Because if it was an all digital thing and they were ready to just press go live or press play or whatever, that could be whenever they feel like. That could be September 3rd.
I'm assuming they're just going to play it by ear, like if current events settle, then I'm sure they'll press play.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. And when it does go live, we'll be here to tell you about it probably a day after it goes live or 2 days after, because we, for some reason, don't do live reactions.
Life gets in the way.
Life finds a way. I can't do it, Jeff Goldblum.
It's a hard cadence to nail down.
I mean, I got the hairy chest, but I don't look good in leather jackets.
I just don't look good.
Well, that's also true for both of us, but specifically a leather jacket. I don't have the same hair.
Yeah.
Sony, number 2. So going back to Sony. Sony isn't the only company to announce delays related to the ongoing protests in the U.S., and here is a list so far. Nate is going to probably freak out in 2 more stories about one of these. Activision is postponing new content updates for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Mobile, and Call of Duty Warzone. They also, I believe, when you launch Call of Duty now, have a message in-game that you're greeted with.
Mm-hmm.
CD Projekt Red has delayed their Cyberpunk 2077 Night City Wire event until June 25th. IGN has pushed back their Summer of Gaming events till June 8th. Games Radar postponed their Future Games show to June 13th. Guerrilla Collective, which will showcase games from mid-sized publishers and studios like Larian Studios, Paradox Interactive, and Humble Bundle, has been delayed till June 13th. EA Play Live 2020 is postponed till June 18th, and Valve has announced that it has delayed its Summer Games Showcase from its original dates of June 9th through the 14th to the 16th through the 22nd.
Yep.
Birthday podcast is getting bigger and bigger. Everything is getting pushed into that week.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's a rolling push. So if
it's just going to be one of those whenever everything gets put out, it'll all basically kind of now be put out at the same time instead of everybody having a stagger type of thing. And it'll be like, all right, great. Here's your 4-hour Gamers 2 podcast that you always wanted.
Debatable.
Hey, by the way, nobody wants that, including Matt and I.
I mean, I'll sit for that one.
I'll get through 2 hours, then you'll hear me actively just bending my mic to sit down.
Where are we?
Number 3.
Number 3, Epic Games has secured another significant exclusive for its growing games marketplace, thanks to a partnership with Sega and the Creative Assembly. The latter's next title, a Total War Saga Troy, will be exclusive to Epic Games Store for the first year, launching on August 13th. It will be released for Steam and other digital PC stores in August of 2021. The game will also be made available for free for the first 24 hours. Anyone who downloads it on launch day will be able to keep the game indefinitely. Pretty redonkulous.
I think it's once again it's the crazy part where it's like the game will also be free for 24 hours and just claim it.
What was the other one that just
there's another one that's going to be coming. That's going to be coming to Epic Games Store. That was going to be free for the first week.
Right?
It was last week. I think we talked about it.
What the hell? I can't remember what it was. But this whole Epic is funny because
they have Fortnite money and don't give a shit.
I know, but it's always because you're always just like, what are they going to do next? Or like, this isn't a sustainable business model or whatever the case may be. And then they up the ante. Like, brand new game, exclusive to our store. By the way, it's free on the first day or free the first week. And it's like, how is that sustainable? Like, how can you do that? And there's like, we got this money printer over here. Prints us like $1 billion a month. which is insane in itself. But that's where we're at. Troy, Total War Saga.
Double checked through last 2 weeks of podcasts and don't see it in the notes, but I do remember we discussed something in like mid-June that's free for like a week.
Yeah.
Somebody let me know. Otherwise, I'll see it on Epic and I'll call it out like I normally do. But yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know. Total War is an interesting. Obviously I'm going to claim it. That's just what I see a free thing. I go click give me. But the Total War is, oh God, what's the? I like using the FIFA to Football Manager comparison. It's a really weird comparison, but follow me. You like soccer. You like playing like an arcade style of soccer, so you're going to actually play soccer. You're going to play FIFA. You like the math and tactics and intricacies of soccer and everything else, and you want to dive headlong into something that FIFA does not prepare you for. Football Manager. FIFA is like Civ 6 in this scenario, or Civilization, just any of them. Where Civilization, I love playing, and there is a very in-depth like part of it, but you can also just play it, and there isn't like you don't have to get too crazy with it. And then Total War happens, and it's like, hey, did you also want to manage every single unit down to the T in the battle? And then you do this thing, and then this thing, and then over here, and then you flank from this side, and I'm just like, no. No, I wanted to say cannon bigger than soldier, kill, boom, done. All right, thank you. Like I think the last time I played Total War, I played Total War Rome, I believe. And I was lost. It was over my head so fast.
Rome was probably the last one I played as well, and I played it with other people at like a big LAN, and
might have been Rome 2.
Yeah, that was
one.
The most recent one.
Yeah, of
the Rome ones, obviously. Yeah. No, I like Total War. It's interesting, but it's
it falls into like it's StarCraft RTS-y, but like with the city management side of it and stuff. And it's just like it gets to a point where I'm like, it's too far for me. I don't mind watching somebody else do it, but I can't do it because I'm not on that level.
Yeah.
I enjoy complexity in some games. Other times I'm like, I do simple. I shoot thing, get die. Yay.
Yeah, it's hard too. Like if you don't know,
because you could immediately lose in like 3 things because you thought you were walking. If you were walking into an even fight, you're like, okay, this should be like, I lose some, they lose some, whatever. You made a move wrong and you have nothing now, and you're like, how do I recover? It's going to take me 10 turns. Oh, they sacked my city and I lose? Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about it for a while, but I won't. It's an interesting game, for sure.
Well, weren't you also a, what's that other one I'm forgetting? Age of Empires?
Yeah.
What's that similar to? Total War or Civ?
Or
is it like
it's probably closer. It's pretty much right in the middle, but if I had to guess, I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd probably
Age put you in the battles?
Yeah, so it's...
Okay, so it's got that part of Total War in it.
It's the battles and unit management and stuff, but it also has basic city building.
Okay.
And settlement building.
So it's like, Civ, Age, Total.
Yeah.
As your progression through an RTS style game.
Total War is interesting because, like, so when I played it with my friends and we were landing and stuff like that, on our team, we tried to break the system kind of, and it did not work at all. Which
would you guys be playing when you say LANing? I know LANing normally, if anybody doesn't know what a LAN is, go back to the 90s and look them up. But
a traditional LAN.
Was it a traditional LAN of 4v4? Like, were you playing against other people, or were you LANing against the computer?
We were playing against each other.
Oh, okay.
Both really, but the main event.
Well, yeah, there were. I'm sure there was probably some AI too, but
the main, like, it was 4v4, and we thought we would be not funny, but we tried to one up and do so. Instead of each picking our own army, we each focused on a unit to try to create one giant cohesive army. So like one of us was all cavalry, one of us was all like archery bowmen,
right?
One of us was all just foot troops.
Makes sense if you're all fighting together.
Exactly. I don't think the game engine is set up in a way to like let
reward that
work. Yeah, so we got just absolutely waffle stomped.
I do miss certain things like that where you're like, all right, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And it's like all these, I picture you guys just being in the same room facing. So,
Oh yeah, like the whole thing, and like because in the first series of Rome there was a big difference between some of the armies and stuff.
the like leaders you could,
Yeah, so like we ended up, that was a whole hour-long conversation in itself.
like who's going to be who type of thing.
And then we settled on the obvious choice where one of us was SPQR, which is the Roman Legion of the Senate, essentially, Rome's legions, and then one of us was like Scipio or like Caesar's army, like the other team was, which they're essentially identical. They're just different colors because they're both Roman armies.
Right,
They're just they fly under a different house flag.
Right. It's I do picture those things though, like going back to the old school of you have 4 computers and you guys are all sitting shoulder to shoulder, like in a line, and then right immediately across from you are 4 computers that the 4 people in their line are staring at you, and you guys are in game like having to shoot messages across because you know you can't talk because they can hear you, and so you're like either doing like little unknown whispers or like sending games of like hey over here, and then you all 4 of you stare at the one guy on the other team that you're talking about, and just like the meta games outside the game.
We had weird dynamics because we would actually set the teams up in different rooms and run Ethernet cables between the 2 rooms.
Yeah, then you have two clear command centers.
Yep. But that also adds in the fun aspect of you being able to scream shit to the other team, like insults or like whatever, like
just lobbing insults the same way you just lob things out of a trebuchet.
Yeah. It was fun. I miss Lands a lot because there's just the dynamic there. You do that, and then after the battle, the fight's done, you all congregate and talk about it and joke and like discuss things.
And if it didn't take long, you start a second one.
Yep.
The one that I think would have been interesting, another, who gives a shit about the news, right? So the other thing you could have done, what I think would be interesting in a game like that where you're PvPing type of thing, is pick the other team's countries or like fighters, where you take your 4 people, you're like, all right, here's us 4, there's you 4. Who do you want so and so to be? And the other team decides on a per person basis on a rotating rounds who plays what nation.
Yeah.
Like, Matt sucks at Egypt. He gets Egypt.
That would have been really interesting because when we did play,
because I'm sure there's probably
when we did play like how the units, the armies that we wanted to play, like certain people,
they knew you knew
what your strength was. Yeah, like I always played as Macedon, and like
I can see that
someone else played as like Gaul or whatever, like and they played to their strengths. And
so then flipping those I think would have been really interesting. It's stuff that I've always
just a shit absolute shit show.
It's stuff I love doing. I've done it in FIFA too, where when I used to hang out with the guys or we used to play online and stuff, I would do FIFA where we would just go to the teams and go, in FIFA, when you're selecting your team, if you go to the top where it's the country, it'd be country, then league, then the team. If you go up to the top at country and hit randomize, it will randomize all 3 categories. So you just sit there and we would smash randomize until one of us said stop. We just wouldn't look at the screen and they'd just say stop. And we'd play with whatever teams they were. Or sometimes we would say, we're not going to play with a team with a better overall than 70. And purposely put each other on just terrible playing fields where we don't know any of the players and we're just looking for hidden gems. Where's that one guy that's 50 overall, but he runs faster than anybody on the field? And because this game only looks at speed and doesn't understand how these terrible people can function, he will just run past them. So it became a nuance of trying to find all these little things about teams we had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, cool. Matt doesn't get Macedon, but he gets something else. And he's like, all right, what's the hidden gem of this damn thing? I have absolutely no idea.
It's like early min-maxing almost.
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, all right, you either do an early min-max where you're like, I need to find the best reward immediately, or you go, I'm going to take as long as I can because I need to figure this out, and I hope to God I'm strong in the end. Fun times, though.
Good times.
Let's move on to number 4. Activision Blizzard has come under fire for more than one thing recently, but for some of its own shareholders from some of its own I got this. Sorry. From some of its own shareholders who argued that CEO Bobby Kotick gets paid too much. Two proxy advisory service firms have recommended that Activision Blizzard shareholders vote against a proposal to continue paying Kotick in line with previous years. The group noted that the pay proposal doesn't detail some performance targets Kotick must reach, while others are set below the previous year's goals and actual results. Despite that, Kotick's proposed compensation has not been reduced accordingly. According to the filing, Kotick has received nearly $100 million each year in combined stock options and equity since 2016, which has been, quote, consistently larger than the total pay of CEO peers at similar companies, end quote. The filing also states that Activision Blizzard employees typically earn less than 1/3 of 1% of Kotick's earnings. I'd like to vote for I would like to have a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Kotick. Or Emperor Kotick.
Interesting. Interesting. Is he a new guy, or is he been...
He's the one that replaced Morhaime, I believe.
Okay. So he's probably been with the company for a while.
Yes. The part that I want to just quickly piss on Activision Blizzard for really fast is this is bad. Also, they have now put out a statement regarding the Black Lives Matter movement. But I hate to tell the world, we didn't forget about Hong Kong and your stance there. So...
Yeah, that was not a good move. I feel like they would have been better off just staying silent from a PR perspective.
I like the idea that they learned, but we know they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is just their money safe face grab, but I'm going to hope that they learned.
Yeah.
But it's
like
just
this one and Disney.
Yes.
Are the two that I saw that I was just like, really, guys?
Disney's always funny because Disney is revered for certain things, but it's the people that rose tinted glasses type of thing. They're like, yeah, Marvel's really good. Disney, yay. Disney, great. And it's like, you should just look a little bit further. A little bit further. They have their own problems.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of Disney, I watched an epic rap battle with Walt Disney and that again.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
One of the older ones, right?
It's one of the older ones because he comes into Jim Henson versus Stanley.
Oh yeah, those are good. That's good.
I like their older work.
Abe Lincoln's still my favorite.
My wax mustache.
When Abe Lincoln shows up in
the Romney Obama one.
Romney Obama one. That's so funny.
I'll promptly reach across the aisle and bitch smack you as equal.
You're flip flopping like a pancake.
It's a country, not a company. You can't play it like Monopoly.
So quotable.
I used to be able to do his entire thing from Chuck Norris. I probably still could if I listened to it a little bit again, but
I got a random.
I fought for what's up my brain until a bullet went through it. Oh, no, that's actually Mitt Romney again. That's Mitt Romney Obama.
Yeah, that is. Anyways, anything else we want to talk about Activision Blizzard?
This is just one of those where it's funny that the shareholders are speaking up.
Yeah,
and if the shareholders of the lawsuit are bringing up that final point where they're like, the regular employee makes 1% of blah blah blah, like that little. It's like that's kind of that's what you guys are supposed to be that's what Amazon people have been bitching about in Amazon about the public for years. Which is a little bit, I think, a different scenario. But
what kind of irritated me about that statement is every company is set up like that. And they use that argument when it suits their purposes. Like
selective outrage.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean,
Not much to say there. It's pretty obvious. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I don't have anything to deal with directly with their CEO. Usually I have more gripes with their creative department or their PR department.
Yeah.
Mostly their creative department. But their
There's
PR department's pretty bad.
There's a few companies that we've consistently talked about, and whenever something like this happens, I like to keep a tab on it because, like Blizzard, I think is going to be interesting to put the pieces together in a year or two down the road and lining them all up and be like, this is where we are now with these games that came out and blah, 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 blah.
It's something where it's if I owned a construction company. Now, this is a weird analogy. Don't worry about it. If I owned a construction company or had some landscape company, something like that,
You'd
right?
move the cranes for Spider-Man.
No, I wouldn't. Everybody aligned the cranes. The movie sucked. God, the Spider-Mans are so bad. So, where was I going? Landscaping or construction company. Anyway, anything that I would have a large access to, like dirt. I would just, every time a story like this came, I would just have certain dirt sections that were like, hey, go take that out of the Activision dirt or Activision Blizzard pile or something. And I would just, every time a story like this, just go add another bucket, add another truck onto that pile and see, after like 3 years, who's screwed.
Yeah.
Like, who ruined this the whole way across? Right now, theirs is pretty high.
Yeah, for sure.
They've had a solid 2 years. Year and a half. Maybe not 2 years. Because BFA launched well, and then everybody immediately realized what it was. So, year and a half.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep doing this. Yeah, I'm walking here. I got my fucking neck going.
A remastered version of Kingdoms of Amalur. Is that how you say that?
Amalur.
Amalur.
Oh, Black Betty. Amalur.
A remastered version of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is coming to consoles and PC this summer. A listing for the remaster dubbed Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning appeared Wednesday on the Microsoft Store. The leak was later confirmed on Twitter in a post that added that all the game's downloadable content was being remastered as well. Frankfurt, Germany-based Keiko is listed as the developer of the remaster. The studio previously worked with THQ Nordic on Darksiders War Mastered Edition and Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition. God, I hate that.
Yeah, it's hard.
Publisher THQ Nordic confirmed to Polygon that the remaster is real and said it was inadvertently listed ahead of an official announcement, which I think they've now officially announced it.
Yeah, I believe so. Just be happy you're not Mike Tyson.
What happened with Mike Tyson?
Well, you couldn't read definitive.
Oh, nice. Good reference.
Yeah, right? Also, you see, he's getting back in shape.
Dude.
He's ready. He looks like he can kick somebody's ass again.
Oh, I
mean, he never couldn't, but if you look at pictures of him from like even 5 years ago, he had just hit like that post fighter where he's standing up on oversized shirts and suits and stuff. But he started hitting he's like, you see him, they got videos of him actually like shadow boxing people and punching again. And it's just like, oh no.
Mike Tyson, pretty interesting dude. I listened to an interview it was.
Anyway, Kingdom's Family. Yeah.
He did an interview on NPR. I think he wrote a book or something like that. Like he did a book.
I doubt he wrote the book.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And it was a really interesting interview, and he seems like a really genuine person.
Did you ever see the Comedy Central roast where he was on it? He was a roastee, or like a roaster, not the person being roasted.
No, who were they roasting?
I don't remember who they were roasting.
Was it another boxer, or was it like a...
No, because Johnny Knoxville was there. Or maybe it was the Johnny Knoxville one because Bam got punched in the face by Tyson. I don't know. It was something weird. But Tyson was there, and he's just there enjoying himself, and everything was pretty cool. And I was just like, I bet he's a pretty cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from everything everybody else already knows about him.
Yeah.
I bet he's probably a pretty chill dude.
Yeah. Well, that was the like, what do you know about Mike Tyson? You know what I mean? Like, and the interview was like super interesting, and he was like really open about his like, certain aspects of his life and stuff like that. And it was, I left listening to the interview feeling like I gained something of value.
That's good. That's the way you want to leave it. speaking like you gained something of value, what do you think about THQ Nordic and the Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning?
I know the game was like pretty well received when it came out.
No, that's the thing.
Wasn't it? I thought people liked that.
People do love it, but it was Dying Light scenario. People loved it later. A lot of people at launch, I don't think really gave it its fair shake.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, it seeped into people's brains, and they're like, "You guys know Kingdom of Amalur is really good, right?" And then it all just kind of hit its cult following type, and now we're getting this. Dying Light did the same thing, where everybody at launch was kind of like, "Oh, whatever, Dying Light." And then I played it a year late, but going back in a year late, and everybody's just like, "Have you played Dying Light yet?" Where I don't know if it's just if Amalur, I don't know if Amalur. Words are so hard for me tonight. I don't know if Amalur released at just a poor time, where something else had overshadowed it, or it was a weird release time, but it did definitely gain a following post its launch versus right within the first month and a half of its launch.
So it came out in 2017, I think.
No. Amalur? No. Back that train way up.
2012? 2012.
Yeah, because it's on 360.
I like the train of thought that it came out with weird shit around it, or like better shit around it.
It either came out with better shit around it, or like Dying Light's problem was that it randomly released. It was before stuff started releasing in January, February, and that released then and just didn't have the same. People weren't looking for stuff then.
I mean, its Metacritic and other reviews are obviously
Yeah,
good.
I think it reviewed well and everything. I just don't think there was the hype and sale train around it until later. But I don't know if you're going to actually be able to find proof of that.
Yeah, I do know that the developer that made it, this is literally the only game they ever made, and then they went under.
Yeah. Because it was one of those where it was a shame they went under because the game wasn't received commercially well enough. And then it got the cult following like right before they went under, and it just couldn't save them. If I'm remembering correctly, I might be wrong. But thoughts on a Re-Reckoning? Did you ever give it a shot? I never played it. I don't
Never
think.
played it.
I'd have to double check my Xbox profile. I might have played it for like 2 minutes because I borrowed it from somebody, but I don't think I ever played it.
I never did. I never played it.
I'm intrigued because like we said, everybody that loves it, there are a lot of. You're nodding.
I'm looking at what came out around it.
Oh, okay. But because of everybody that we know that is hyped for this, quite a few of them I do trust their opinions on games, or they at least not necessarily trust their opinions, but their interests do semi-align with mine, so I know what they're talking about when they're like ready for it or happy for it. So I'm intrigued to see how it does when it comes out, and maybe I'll play it. Who knows? I just love THQ Nordic out here dropping things.
Yeah, they
got to start working on these 83 titles they were supposed to be announcing.
Let's see here.
Do you have anything that indicates a Titanfall 2 situation?
Not really. I mean, The Darkness 2 came out on the same day.
Nope. That's not stopping it.
Jack and Daxter collection.
What was its date?
Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, New Vegas was pretty big. What was its date?
February 10th, it looks like.
Yeah,
February
and
12th.
so that's what I'm talking about, where we had that was before a lot of these big games released in a February, January window where people weren't necessarily ready for them. If that makes sense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It wasn't kosher at that point to be releasing games in early spring.
Not even necessarily early spring. We're still in a February at that point. It's not like it was end of fiscal where it's late February, early March where it becomes that. But even then, it's everybody's like, all right, cool, June's on its way, and then we're going back to the fall, and that's when we get games. Like sometimes those games just didn't do what they were supposed to. I think I could be wrong. There's probably some video game historian being like, he's clearly wrong if you looked at the numbers. I'm like, that's
I don't know, man. There's some shit games that came out around that time.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying the games were bad. I'm just saying how they were commercially sold and perceived. Especially at February 10th. You still have people that maybe went through the holidays and are still playing those games only a month later. They might not have had the itch for a new thing yet. Or depending on what came out the fall previous, you might have had a lot of games that people were still invested in. But I don't want to spend this entire time looking up the timeline of 2011 to 12.
I mean, the aspect of...
and it's on the end of the console cycle.
I mean, the idea that it wasn't really the norm to release games at that point in time, or that point in the year, and have them be big successes kind of makes sense. I mean, that's 2012. That's kind of like... I mean, we definitely are in a different place as far as
you can
the
now,
internet and like things getting out quicker. And
you
easier.
can now release a game at any point of the year, and if the game's good, it will be commercially received okay.
Because at that point, we had the internet and everything, but the traditional, the old school, like journalism structure for video games was still prevalent. So like,
and you were still
magazines were still a thing. Like
magazines, you still had weird review dates, and you were still doing a lot of physical buys and not digital ones. Where like this might have succeeded better in a time where you could have had a ton of digital sales instead. Because if you go to the store and you haven't heard anything about it, and it's a brand new IP, it's very hard to like convince yourself like, yes, I'm going to grab that on a whim.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that.
That is that.
Did I say I took evens? I did. Number 6, a new patent for the PS5 dev kit has been added to the World Intellectual Property Organization database. And while it doesn't delve too deeply into technical details, it does show how the machine is being cooled. It looks like there are 6 fans divided evenly between the 2 wings of the PS5 dev kit. 3 of the fans are dedicated to cooling the power supply and 3 for the APU. There's also a vapor chamber. Calm down, Vape Lords. Not for you. There's also a vapor chamber, which will use advanced liquid cooling to keep the PS5 APU cool. And then Matt wrote link to diagram, but I'm not going to read that to you. Oh, shit.
Do you want to see a picture of the diagram?
Sure, if you have one, I'll take a quick gander.
Okay. This is the goofy looking dev kit that everyone freaked out about.
Yeah, the one that looks like you can set your pizza in the middle of it for when you got to play. Which is probably my favorite thing. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
The joke was that the heat will vent out that area, so you can just set your pizza there and keep it warm while you're playing, and pick it up, have a slice, and have a bite and put it back.
Originally, I believe when we were talking about this, the consensus was that they were designed to be stacked.
I don't remember that conversation,
but that's a lot of detail. I didn't realize that dev kits were that well designed.
I think the dev kits are still pretty well designed because visually they might not be that close. I think their concepts are pretty close.
Yeah.
It's just how they actually put it all together at the end might be a little different, but
yeah.
It's just hard for me. That makes sense.
It does. It's hard for me to imagine using. Well, I guess if you're just trying to test out like vapor chambers and stuff like that, you could translate that over to a different design. But this is a weird design for a cooling unit.
I don't know necessarily if the cooling unit is the weird design for you. I feel like your design is still hung up on the case.
Not so much the case, but the layout.
They're just side venting cooling.
Yeah. It's the layout, though. That's kind of bizarre.
I mean, I think side venting cooling makes more sense than bottom venting cooling, which things have been trying to do forever, and I don't understand why. Yeah, put the fan. Just put the thing down. It'll vent out the bottom. What? No. Just make it taller. This whole world of getting everything slimmer makes things hotter.
The center is actually an intake.
Oh, that makes sense. It makes sense because it would either be an intake or an outtake based on what we're seeing there. But yes, that makes sense for it to be an intake and then just push it through and out. Interesting. That's all I got to say. It's interesting, Matt. You ever hear that? Interessante. I think that's interestingly. You got a real short one.
Yeah, Project Cars 3 was officially announced with a trailer. I don't know if you watched it.
I did watch it.
I did watch it too.
Good news. I did watch that trailer.
Wasn't anything substantial other than...
It wasn't anything crazy, but I was just like, awesome.
Yeah.
I was excited that Project Cars 3 exists.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is one of the best racing games, period.
Yeah, and well, in recent
memory, one of the best racing franchises in recent memory.
Yeah,
when you put it up against like Forza,
yeah,
and Dirt, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
Gran
right.
Turismo hasn't
Sounds
had a recent enough release to continue talking about that. So
yeah,
Drive Club doesn't exist.
Don't really know anything about it.
No, I didn't. I don't really know anything, and it's just there. It is.
That's it.
Speaking of Project Cars, I'm going to skip to a deals thing. But Project Cars 2, depending on when you're listening to this, you might only have so long to get it at this price. But Project Cars 2 on Steam was $9.99. Deluxe Edition, $14.95. So that's all I'm saying. If you want to go play a Project Cars game and you can claim it fast enough, that's $15 for a great game.
Game deals.
Or only $10 if you can't afford the other $5. But, you know, decide how to spend your money your way. Did we already cover everything in my last news story?
Yeah, I mean, there was some other stuff on there, but we didn't watch the video, so it's not really anything we can talk about.
Yeah, we didn't watch the videos, and I'm not...
Nothing really significant.
Valorant got a cinematic trailer if you're interested in that. There's a trailer for Total War Troy, which we already talked about. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated multiplayer trailer leak. Don't care about multiplayer. I plan on playing that game single player. And there was a leaked Xbox Store 2020 codename Mercury. Does that mean like a store
revamp,
revisioning, retiling?
Yeah,
they're putting lipstick on a pig type of thing.
Yeah, people were making a big deal out of it because in the video it seemed like it worked really well. Like the interface was really snappy and responsive, and it wasn't just like, you know, a monstrosity to use. So
good. I mean, hopefully they also purge some of the stuff off there too. Or at least do a little bit more housekeeping.
Housekeeping?
I feel like a large bug smacked the screen over there. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go on to some deals, Matt. Some true deals to highlight. Before we go to the deals, I got another news thing. If you're listening to this, you've also, at this point, seen that there is another little episode in this podcast feed where Matt and I do a review of a game coming out on June 17th on Steam called Alien Scumbags. 2D platform horror survival shooter influenced by Doom, Duke Nukem, Aliens, other pop culture references, Master Chef. Go give it a listen. And then go check it out on Steam. Go give it a wish list on Steam and go take a look. Look for yourself. Cool. Deals. Matthew.
Yeah.
Can you click that link and tell me if it works? I believe Humble did update their choice for the month now. So I'm hoping that works. I'm also hoping that bear didn't come through the window. I guess I'm calling the bug a bear. Don't know if it was or not. 50-50. We'll find out. If at any point Matt and I stopped talking because we got mauled, it was a bear. Large
Humble
bear.
choice? Is that what I'm looking at?
It's like a grizzly bear's claws, but a panda bear's teeth. And if you haven't listened to Wyatt Snack's stand-up, you should. So that way he mauls you like a bear, but then he's just... If I never played that for you, because it's so funny to me. Wyatt Snack, you should listen to a stand-up at some point. Talks about going to medieval times. It's a whole thing. Sorry. Completely distracted. Anyway, Humble Bundle, Humble Choice, which is their monthly subscription service that I believe you can tiered subscribe to for certain dollar amounts, features these games for this month.
I like this month.
Matt likes this month. Spoiler alert, Nate hasn't seen it yet.
You have Supraland. Don't know what that is.
Well, I don't either.
Grid Ultimate Edition. As Nate smacks himself.
Sorry, I thought I felt the bug. I know that was sudden. If there's a loud clap on the mic, I'm sorry. Sorry, Grid?
Grid Ultimate Edition.
I don't think there was a bug. I think I'm just paranoid.
And Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice.
Ooh, Hellblade.
Yeah, Hellblade. Hellblade.
I mean, her hair is braided. But
and Grid. Interesting combo. And Superland, no idea what that is. Looks crazy.
There's more. Those are just, they only show you a few featured ones, and then when you unlock it, there's usually around 9, I believe. 9 to, I think it actually says, I think the quoting on the site is 10 plus choices. So you have more to choose from to complete your bundle. But I mean, Hellblade.
Good game. Grid. Good game.
Matt and I differ in that, but Grid. Grid is a game. Speaking of good racing games, not Grid.
All right, not a fan of Grid.
I don't know. I tried playing it for a little while. I played it for like maybe 2 hours or so, and I just couldn't get its driving down. Something I just couldn't. It just always felt clunky to me, and I couldn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
People love it though because they made Grid 2, and I think they're making another one too.
Makes sense. I mean, everyone. I can't get Forza Horizons driving down for some reason.
That's true, Matt. If put it this way, if Matt likes a racing game, I probably won't, for the most part, unless we both agree that objectively the game is good. But our two abilities to race, if Matt can't crash me into a corner to make me lose, or I will lose just constantly because Matt will destroy me, both happen.
I still hold that Drive Club was one of the best racing games.
In Drive Club, I didn't hate Drive Club. I think it was pretty decent. I could actually drive in that one, unlike in Grid. But I could not drive good enough because watching 2 of my friends out of the 4 of us compete in time trials and setting times that I knew I could not touch after the first 3 races I did, I was like, I can't even get close to that. And I was just like, never mind. I'm good. I'm good now.
I'll be honest, I was surprised by those times.
Those times were stupid by you 2.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I don't even know how we were doing that, to be honest with you. Because when I was doing it and looking at the times, I don't know how I did that.
Yeah, and at a certain point, you guys were only passing each other by a second, and then tenths of a second, and it was just getting narrower and narrower. And I was like, I have to shave 2 minutes off my time. I don't understand what I'm doing. PlayStation Plus, though, Matt, if you got PlayStation Plus, you're going to get these 2 games for free: Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Call of Duty World War 2.
That's a good month.
I'm getting real
sassy.
It's just I'm animated. I don't know why. I got the hey.
I'm
gonna start turning into a little New York here. Xbox Games with Gold. If you have Xbox Gold, you get these games. And Xbox constantly loves to torture me with the way it releases games. So if you have an Xbox and you want to jot these down, I suggest you go look them up. But I'll go slow. No, I won't. Shantae. Oh, speaking of which, there was a new Shantae game out last week. I don't know if I talked about that, but there was a new Shantae game out. Sorry. Continuing the Games with Gold. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, available June 1st to the 30th on Xbox One. Coffee Talk is available from June 16th to the 15th. June 16th to July 15th on the Xbox One. Destroy All Humans is available from June 1st to the 15th on Xbox One and 360. And Cine Mora is available June 16th to the 30th on Xbox One and Xbox 360. Now for the fun part, Twitch Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime and blah, 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 blah. Don't forget, you should go drop it on some random Twitch streamer free subscription. Give it to him. Otherwise, you're wasting $5 every month. Kind of. Or Jeff Bezos keeps it. I guess you're not really wasting it, but he just keeps it. That's a whole other
he
thing.
needs more money for sure.
Yeah, he didn't make $150 million the other day. Twitch Prime. These 5 games that are out for free are Observer, Forsaken Remastered, Steel Rats, The Flame in the Flood, and Retro FPS Project Warlock. And also, don't forget, right now you can go download 7 SNK games for $0 off the service, and there's going to be more added throughout the summer. Now they've kind of hit that summer of play. They're just dropping things in there constantly for you to claim. And depending on when you listen to this episode, if you go to the Epic Games Store, Overcooked is available to be claimed for free.
Also a good game.
It is a good game. It is a very enjoyable game. Play it with friends. I can't imagine playing that game solo, but you can. That just seems super difficult. But that's all I have, Matt.
I don't have anything.
Until next time. See you. No, wait, hold on. Shit. I forgot our normal routine. I was ready to end. Matt, it's been 7 days. What the hell have you been doing?
I mean, nothing.
I bait and switched you guys with a fake ending. My bad.
Still playing SnowRunners. Didn't really play a ton this week. Played a wee bit. One night, I think I put maybe an hour in. 2 hours, maybe. I watched Gladiator while doing some dishes. Didn't get through the whole movie, obviously, because it's 3 hours long.
God, so long.
Watched half of V for Vendetta.
Fitting.
Yeah, it was. It was really creepy.
The amount of people that are watching V right now are pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was on.
I wish you could get streaming numbers because I feel like that's probably been watched a lot in the last week.
I bet so. Netflix stingy. Doesn't release those numbers.
Oh wow, who what Netflix stingy?
That's it, really.
Cool.
You know what, Nate? Fuck you.
Oh, hey, listen, I know it's getting warm in here, all right, but we don't need to raise the temperature by those words. Fuck you. It's been a normal week, to say the most. It's been it's been a show week. It's been an Animal Crossing update week of just, hey, log in, let me do some stuff. I haven't had the inspiration to like redo my island yet. Of like really like do some stuff. I'm just like kind of like going through the motions right now.
Yeah.
Playing WoW, tolerating WoW, whatever. Playing Magic, playing stuff on my phone. I mean, I'm just playing things, man. It's nothing's really grabbing me except for Football Manager 2020.
Jesus.
Because we are back. This season has been reset, and we have begun. We have begun a budding universe for the two of us, Kenny and I, to conquer. We left the transfer window on in the beginning of this time, unlike normal when we turn it off. So we bought players. We sold players. We started playing the season. I'm currently in second. I have found a tactic that I hope works. I have bought players that I hope work, and everything is looking on the up, unlike last time where I got fired. The hooks are in, man. We're tapping veins out here. We just give me that hit.
When's the new one come out?
Like either late October or some. I think one came out in November one time, but usually I think it's October. It comes out way after the season starts because they try to wait for all the transfer periods across Europe to finish, and then they drop it usually.
All right.
Which has always been an annoyance for us because we're like, soccer's starting, cool. Why isn't the new Football Manager out? But that's just, that's an us problem. And then watched War Dogs, watched Solar Opposites.
No idea what that one is.
Justin Roiland's new show. Creator of Rick and Morty, new show on Hulu.
Okay, yeah.
Watched all that. I mean, what it is. I don't give a shit about Rick and Morty anyway. I enjoyed watching Trover Saves the Universe, which is also written by them.
Mm-hmm.
But watching this one, I was just kind of like, okay. It's more tolerable than the other one, like than Rick and Morty, but it's not as good as Trover for me. Definitely some fun like moments in it, but like as an overall, it's kind of like whatever. Caught myself up on South Park. Then watched all of what was the other show I watched? Oh no, Matt, I'm blanking.
Devs maybe? Did you
No,
finish
Dev has been finished.
I
I don't know if I watched another thing. Shoot. I might not have watched anything else. I feel like that's a lie. I feel like I definitely did watch something else, but I might be wrong.
mean, there's a movie on there.
What's the movie?
Hateful Eight.
Oh yeah, I did watch Hateful Eight. That was an interesting movie.
Good, bad, and different.
It's a good movie.
That was one of those movies that I really wanted to go see in theaters, and I never did, and I've never watched it.
I was like, I want to watch this, and then same thing. I just never watched it, and I was going through my like backlog, and I was like, oh, Hateful Eight, I still haven't watched that play. Magnificent Seven is on for this week, so I'll be watching that.
Oh, that's what you're...
That's his next. That's the next one in that like series he was supposed to be doing.
Oh, that was him?
I'm pretty sure it was him. I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong.
7. The new one, right? It's got like Chris
new...
Pratt in it.
Oh, I don't know. I'll look after it. I don't remember 100%. But Hateful Eight was definitely interesting.
Because there's definitely an old Magnificent Seven.
Isn't there an old Hateful Eight?
Yes. But Magnificent Seven's weird because I think it's also based on Seven Samurai. I think that's what it was called.
Oh, I have no idea. Hey, Google, is Magnificent Seven a Quentin Tarantino movie? The interesting thing was just going through it all, and I was like, okay, I don't know what's happening. And then everything just kind of like explodes partway through. Like he's giving you the bits and pieces of everybody's story. And then it just hits the point where everything happens. You're like, oh shit.
Mm.
And then you take like a quick pause, and then he tells you about how everything got there, essentially. Like he's like, all right, hold on. Now I'm going to bring you up to speed with all the other people you didn't know about. And then the movie finishes, and it's like, all right, cool. I'm a fan. I enjoyed it.
All right, cool.
I got to watch this next one.
Nice.
So, hoorah.
For sure.
I think that's it. Now I think that's it. So now we'll see you in 7 days. Go
For
give
Rizzle.
For Rizzle. Go give the review episode a listen and go show some love to the alien scumbag guys. Bye-bye.